Hello everyone and welcome to USAirsoft. I'm Scott Slade Holmbeck, and today by request we review the new G&G Combat Machine, the CM16 in the XL variation, which is brought to you by Airsoft Station, which is where you can get this rifle for yourself if you wish to for $245, which we'll debate in this video is worth the cost. But if we're going to do that, then we must start from where we always do, the unboxing. The box itself is very flashy like a G&G normally is. It's very distinctive of a G&G box with its bold text, view of the product, and information about the company all over its back. The small photo of the product also points out key features of the rifle, including that it sports a MOSFet inside, which is new for a stock combat machine, but probably adds to the cost. Also, the top of the box is equipped with a plastic carry handle that many people say is great for when you want to take the box with you to a game with the rifle inside. But I never see anyone actually do this, so just go ahead and get yourself a real case or a bag to save yourself the trouble. You don't even have to order it online. You can find it at a Walmart or an Academy if you have one nearby. One last note I'd like to make about the box is that it labels the rifle as a high muzzle velocity version, which we'll take a look at in the chronoing later in this video. Now moving on to actually opening the box, we can get a good look at what you would find inside, which starts off with some manuals and these cardboard cutouts. Talking about the manual, you'll get a nice booklet with many diagrams over the piece, which you'll most likely never read, and a very thoughtful explosive view as well, which many techs will find useful. And nearby will be a G&G product warranty just in case you notice a major issue with your rifle before you alter it. Next up we have nothing important apparently. Moving to something that's actually useful, we have the included unjamming rod that is held into the gun tray. And of course we have the high cap magazine. Now this magazine may look a bit ugly, but I really like the feel of it. It's wrapped in a rubberized exterior which is contoured to fit your fingers. It gives a weird distinguished look to the magazine, but I like that it's simply rubberized, which aids the grip and could help if it's dropped. Besides that, the magazine fed well and performed as it should on semi and on full auto. Not a single problem to mention here. Mag brand magazines, Troy, and even KWA magazines will fit this rifle as well. However, the KWA magazines will have a hard time feeding. Not sure why, but I thought I should let you know. Then after all the items were put to the side, i.e. onto the floor, we can strip the tray of the main prize and lay it on my MLG table. Now let's go over what this M4 features, its build quality, faults, while checking out some high-res photos before we chrono and shoot it a bit. We can begin this by introducing you to the main bread maker G&G has released with this update, and that would be the new Keymod rail setup. This 12-inch system on this XL variant, unlike most of the polymer rifle, is constructed quite well from metal, but shields the polymer free float outer barrel. Here's where I can point out two flaws though. One of which is if they release this with a Keymod rail setup, why didn't G&G just include some rail pieces inside the box, like other companies have done? And two, it doesn't take much force at all to bend the barrel downwards so that it can actually hit the rail setup. Or you can just tap the rail yourself and make a bit of noise. That's nothing major, but not something I'd actually brag about. While we're up front, I should mention the flash hider. Well, it is a 3-prong FH with some exterior threads, which I myself am not aware what it can work with. My guess is though you'd probably just need to remove it to get to your 14mm negative threads. If you do choose to do that, I'd recommend a suppressor that would fit inside the rail system, which can act as a brace for the free float barrel, but that's just my thought. Up top you'll have a nice 18-inch rail for all your sights and tactical needs, which begins on the body of the rifle as polymer but switches to metal when you get to the Keymod portion of course. On this rail you receive some basic G&G sights that remind me a lot of my M27 irons, but both of these sights are branded with G&G logos and are adjustable for windage and elevation. And hey, they're made of metal, so I guess that's pretty great. And if you wish to use an optic and these iron sights, you can easily just push the rear sight down and push this button inward before doing the same with the front sight. Now if we go around the body of this piece, we can get a good look at its almighty stock. Made of polymer and riding on a buffer tube made of the same material, this crane style stock features a lot of options you can say, but to release said stock, you'll need to exert a bit of force on this lever to unlock it from its set position. But when you've chosen a new slot, the 6 available, you'll need to push up on this lever to set it in place. Although even with this lock, the stock does wobble a bit from side to side. Next we have this little compartment accessible after pressing this button and pulling this piece away. I would guess it's meant for batteries or maybe a small tool, but I don't see much use in it, but it's still a nice addition that it's here. For the butt pad, this G&G has a thick rubber padding that has been skeletonized I assume, but on the other side of this pad would be where your battery is housed. With the push of a button and the turn of the rubber, you'll have some small type connections to take advantage of. I was able to fit a 9.6 nunchuck in this stock no problem, so a LiPo user should find no problem with this guy. unless they have some major size batteries. However, I cannot confirm that this rifle is LiPo ready, but if anyone watching this does know if it's LiPo ready, then go ahead and comment down below. Closing the battery area and moving closer to the receiver, you'll find your one sling point, which is basic, but in a good way. And yes, it's made of metal and can handle the weight of the roughly 5-pound rifle. But now that we've gone over all the outer portions, let's get on with the receivers. Both upper and lower receivers are comprised of polymer but bear no gaps between the upper and lower. The grip below is also well texturized using the same rubbering that the magazine and butt pad bear. And with the added grooves for your fingers, you'll get a really nice comfortable grip on this piece. This is what really stood out to me when I first picked this out of the box, but most likely because I have basic old school grips on about every single one of my rifles. So that probably explains why. For markings on the receivers, you'll find of course a large Combat Machine emblem and a serial number near the trigger guard, but you'll probably also find a bunch of G&G markings scattered throughout the entire rifle, including on the sights and of course the Keymod rail. And throughout the body, you'll also find some lightning-like cuts on the upper receiver and even hidden on the Selector Switch and in front of the magazine well. G&G took some creative liberties and I kinda like it. As I speak of the Selector Switch, I should state that you have the common selections of safe, semi, and full auto, but there is a bit of a secret fourth option of 3-round burst, thanks to the MOSFET inside. To set the CM16 XL and other variants for 3-round bursts, you'll have to have the battery connected and be in semi. Now pull the trigger but don't let go. Hold the trigger back and count out 10 seconds. Then after that, your full auto will be set to 3-round burst. But if you ever want to go back to full auto, just repeat the process like turning off a cheat code in a video game. I know some of you Grand Theft Auto players are probably thinking about the good old days right now. Now just in front of that, you'll have your normal M4 magazine release. However, if you want something a little bit more untraditional, then speak no more because G&G made sure to include a magazine release on both the left and the right side. Both releases do the job and neither is more difficult than the other, so feel free to use them accordingly. And for the G&G magazine included and all the other magazines in my collection, they all drop free, from KWA to just mag brand magazines. Now for your charging handle, we have a polymer rod with ambidextrous arms. And of course, when you pull this back, you'll uncover the hop-up and gearbox shell. But sadly, it won't stay back as the bolt catch is non-functional. However, I found this hop-up to be very effective, but hard to turn. So much so that I ended up using the eraser end of a pencil to turn it. But once you do, you can enjoy some target hitting at around 200 feet. Nothing super crazy, but effective. And that's with a .28 gram BB. When chronoing the CM16, we use .2s to receive a high of 345 feet per second and a low of 335 feet per second, which makes our rifle susceptible to CQB. I guess that high muzzle velocity sticker doesn't really mean much here. But then again, all guns are different, so this might have been meant for a higher FPS. Now that we've seen the features and chronoing, let's shoot it a bit before wrapping this up. Now I hope this video didn't make it sound like I was really bashing this rifle too hard, because I actually like a lot of things about it. It's still not really my cup of tea as I'm not really an M4 guy, as I like older platforms like the full stock M16s, but I still would recommend this to an intermediate player. While the older Combat Machines I'd recommend to brand new players. I really like the grip on this one, the MOSFET feature, and ambidextrous magazine releases, but I'm not a fan of the lack of rail pieces out of the box, and that there's a lack of a bolt catch. But that's pretty minor even for me. But let's see what you guys think. Let me know in the comments if you think this Combat Machine is worth $255 or if you have another M4 variant in mind for around the same price. But until you guys band together to request another review, I'll be sure to leave links in the description to Airsoft Station and to keep reading your comments until I see you all in the next video. Damn it, I just dropped the mic.